share trading or any form of. Most people do their nuts, and that's just all there is to it. If you buy and sell a house, one person got a good deal out of that. Not both people. Someone when they bought or when they sold, someone got a good deal out of it. Someone got value out of the deal. And the thing with gambling is that 95% of the time people are losing, and so you see a bit of a dark side, and then
do you see things with alcohol? You're like guys who. Because it's a nightimey sort of thing. Well,
that was the thing. See, despite my story before about Vegas, I played totally sober. Yeah. Always. It was a work thing. I treated it like that. I sat there in a hoodie. I treated it totally professionally. Whereas, everyone gets pissed and hey, a lot of them are having a good time, but I think the people that were regulars that would come in that would just be constantly losing, it wasn't nice to see. And, some people that I know from there ended up in jail, and you sort of later found out that they were, dealing massive amounts of drugs and other things
just
like
to keep up
to keep the addiction
winning
going.
addiction.
Yeah, keep the addiction going. And
heavy.
Yeah, and so that doesn't make you feel real nice because you were taking their money, some of their money.
Well, I worked with a guy. It was just he and I working in a shop at Nerang for a little while, for 18 months. So enough for me and another guy in Nerang, 18 months working together. That we had to slog through this thing. After 8 months, he told me that he was a professional gambler. He had been a professional gambler in the casino maybe 8 years before then. I instantly went, oh my fucking God. I can't trust this guy.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that makes a lot of sense now because he's a little bit... when you know someone, be it my magician mate, Troy Starr, who we were talking about before here, great guy, but as soon as you know they're a magician,
right,
they think on different levels, potentially.
So is this why in the gym you sort of posed a few questions to me to see how I'd respond? Because I've had this, and it's the same sort of thing. I've listened to that podcast with Troy. I know Troy previously, and I was interested to hear him, and it was a great podcast. And I've told people that I've done that for a living, and I feel like people are like, oh, you must be a drug dealer, or you do something dodgy, or I've
more than what you know how to get around my mind.
Yeah,
you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
funny
maybe,
things.
But I've had all that. Yeah, that as well. But I've had all those sorts of just like really feel like people are, sort of like, oh, there's something shady going on here, when, and that's it's funny because
it's a little jealous too because we the rest of us only know how to slog through life, getting that wage. That's all 95% of us think is normal.
You're right.
Somehow you've kind of gone on an edge and gone, no,
I'm not going to live in that sort of. And you're right. It took a friend of mine to point that out to me once. Actually, a school friend of mine. I was copping a bit of flack from some people, and I'd sort of put into a group chat with a bunch of mates from school, and he was just like, fuck them. He was just like, mate, you're living the dream. He's like, you are living the dream. You're living outside of the rat race. You're doing what you want to do. You've got a bunch of free time to yourself, and, who cares what they've got to say and what they think. And so... yeah, you're right. And he actually, he had said to me, there's jealousy there, mate. There's jealousy there. So, yeah, I think that is the case. But I wish that wasn't there because I don't get jealous of anyone else. I get inspired. Actually, like I've met people that are sort of doing things differently. Like this is fuck, mate. This is sick. Like your little setup here, and mate, I love it. Like I'm a big fan. Like I think doing things that are just different to what everybody else does is inspiring. It's nothing to be jealous of. People. It's such a horrible feeling to have is to be jealous. And I've never, ever had that, ever. Like, I've always, since leaving school, I've had my own businesses. I've done my own walked my own path, and I've never, ever been jealous of anybody and what they're doing. I'm always like, I'm happy for them. And if anything, I'm just like, if I feel that it's something that's achievable or something that I would like to do, I'm like, I want to do that, like,
There's something that, to balance that story out though, you're reminding me of two, gambling is so, think of Current Affair, okay?
Right.
How many times have you, or that style of story where they'll only show a guy who had everything, lost everything, and, now he's sucking dicks.
Sucking cock for a rock.
Yeah. But I have two real stories, like a lady I know who works so hard.
Everyone knows someone that lost everything.
And her bloke's addicted to online poker.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah, which
is
what I
from
play.
From the outside, it sounds like it's very soulless because basically you're just playing on a computer, and it takes a very strong character, which I think you may have, obviously. Let's say you make loads of money. Well, then you'll get used to making that money. Then your bets will be high. That classic story.
Yeah.
It's such a worry to other people who are just trudging through life with these wages.
Yeah, you have to, like I say, it's one thing to understand the game and one thing to be a good gambler or a good punter in any space. But probably the biggest thing that holds most people back, I'm 90% of statistics are made up, but I would say 50% of people, as a guess, right, would actually have the knowledge to bet sport or bet part-time professionally well enough to be break even or maybe win a little bit. The biggest thing that holds people back is that they don't know how to manage their money. They just can't control it. Like when they lose, they just need to win that money back.
Right.
And so this is what I said to you earlier is that when you're winning, you should actually be increasing your stakes little by little by little. Whereas what most of the public do is when they're losing, they increase their stakes just to get back what they've lost. Sure. And so it's a total flip on what the professionals do, which is win, increase your stakes, lose, lower your stakes. And so, yeah, online poker is and what I do now, sports betting and trading sport, where I buy and sell prices while they're live in play, which is what I do at the moment. It's a lonely existence. I got to say, it's a pretty lonely sort of thing to do. I spend 40 plus hours sitting in front of a computer, staring at screens by myself mostly. It's
buying and selling prices.
Yeah, is what I do at the moment. But anything where you're just sort of sitting there. I mean, day traders, it's the same sort of thing. You're just sitting there. It's a pretty lonely sort of existence. So in that, you can lose focus and lose control, and like the person that you say,
especially if you're drinking,
you can't drink. You can't drink. Yeah. I'm
sure that'd be the downfall of
absolutely
80% of blokes in general.
Totally. Yeah. Have a few beers, bet on the footy.
Get
have
confident.
A few beers. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You can't do it. I think I learnt early on that you just gambling and drinking do not mix. And there's probably a reason why. In casinos, people just get fully loaded and just bet just crazy, So, you can't drink and gamble professionally and try and make money out of it. But, it is a lonely existence, and in that sort of solace, you can lose your focus, and so it does take a lot of self-control and ability to stay in the zone and make sure that you don't do anything really, really silly. So okay.
In saying that, because I once, before I was in this shop that we're in right now, we're above a shop in a studio, but I was a internet marketer for maybe 2 years, working alone. All right, in a different location in Currumbin. I went batty. I was basically doing exactly the same thing. What do you do to level out your social time?
Social
no,
media,
no doubt.
Social media is probably the big thing. I connect with guys and girls all around the world that do the same sorts of things as me. And we chat about different strategies and different things. I have friends that I've never met that I feel like I know just as well as some of the friends that I've known for years. And we are going to meet. And I've met some people through that I've known. Like I've met people through social media that I've met that do the same sort of thing as me. We've met online, and then we've managed to catch up when we've been around and whatever, and it's crazy. If you know about their wives, about their brothers, their sisters, it's totally insane. Like the internet and social media, how you can just know someone, but
I love it when you like someone's jokes a lot. And you go, that.
Yeah,
I know this guy.
Yeah.
He likes the same funny things.
Absolutely,
I like.
and it's so there's two mates at the moment that one lives in WA and one lives in Toowoomba.
What's their names?
Maddie Green and
G'day, Maddie.
And Dan Armanasco. So
Danielson.
And I haven't met these guys, but fuck, I feel like I know them. Like I feel like we've grown up together. Like we're in little group chats, the three, four of us. And we are going to meet. It's something that we're striving to make it happen, and it will when it does. But it's great because we're in the same sort of the same industry. So look, punting for a living is the kind of thing that most people can't really.
Do you stay secretive though with those mates? Because you
said that at the top of the show, and I don't know why, but I'm not as secretive about it all. Like, I'm starting a little pod at the moment with one of my mates, Robbie. And
was he from the coast?
He is, and it's we got a little name, Punt Pod, and we're gonna
Punt Pod. That's perfect.
And it's gonna be all things about Australian punting in sport. There's nothing here. There's massive ones in the States talking about sports and what's happening in the punting industry, but there's nothing here in Australia. So we're going to start something. We're going to have a few beers and chat some shit about sport, and also
don't have too many beers.
Yeah, we won't have. Yeah, won't be he was in Vegas. So
I want to tell you something right now. Put $20 right now on this.
Listen, Conor McGregor will win knockout. No, it's we'll have a couple. But
Punt Pod, I love it.
Yeah, do you like it?
I love
it's
it.
Good, right? Yeah. So we got.
When's it going to be on?
Fuck me. We tried yesterday. It was terrible.
Mate, I'll set this up today.
Okay. We need help with it. It was like Bam Bam and Pebbles off the Flintstones trying to work out how to get this technology going. It was horrific, but we'll get there.
Okay, so what kind of the beauty of podcasting is that it's all interest based, and then you and I right now, after this episode, I'm going to mentally write down the keywords of what we spoke about, right? And that's the way people will find this podcast, right? So, how many people are gambling out there and want to have an edge and want to?
We're the biggest. We're the biggest gamblers per capita in the world.
Yeah,
I know even the people that are secretive about it are like, I'm still betting on my favourite footy team, on a Friday night. And that's what we want to do. It's going to be a light-hearted chat about sport. We want it to be like a couple of guys in a pub chatting shit about sport. And then on top of that, we're going to throw in some plays,
some real knowledge, like you were saying here, and reason.
That's it, yeah. And so it's not, this all came about because you said, is it secretive? It is. The industry is really like, I don't want to give my edge away. I don't want anyone to know anything about this. Whereas poker's not like that, and so I'm wanting to bring a little bit of poker because without the books and the videos and the poker coaches that helped me to get to where I got to, I never would have got to where I got to in poker and where I am now betting. It was all a natural progression, and so.
Why'd you scratch your head then?
Because it was actually itchy.
See, I look for it now myself.
Yeah.
I do every day.
But it was
every
actually
podcast, though.
itchy.
I've got a natural progression. You scratch your head. I really bullshit us. Isn't
No,
right?
no.